Right, welcome to In Conversation with RetireJapan. This is the first episode of our new series, and I'm really happy to welcome Kristen today. When was the first time we got in touch, Kristen? Was it about a year ago?
It was maybe a year ago when I was first starting to write the ending note.
Yeah, you got in touch and you mentioned it, and I had been thinking about trying to make something similar. So just for everyone watching, ending note is
It's a workbook where you can put in all of your life details, printable, so you can put in, of course, your retirement details, but also emergency contacts and bank account information and all that stuff.
it's basically a template, isn't it? It's a template to create that really important file of important stuff that your family is going to find invaluable if something happens to you.
And to be honest, I've been using it already. I mean, I'm not even dead yet. And I keep going like, wait a minute, when does the lease on this thing end? And because I wrote it down in the book, it's like the kind of one-stop shop for all my paperwork. It saves me from running through the filing cabinet. It's great.
I can imagine, yeah. So, and so this isn't just for, people, closer to the end of life. It's for everyone, really, isn't it?
It sort of is. Although most people who think about ending notes are really those who, like me, are a little bit older and thinking about retirement, right? And maybe even already retired and thinking about their actual end of life. But it certainly isn't just for that, as I've discovered in my own life.
Yeah. And you never know, really. Like, my wife's going to a funeral today. One of her high school friends had cancer and passed away yesterday. And so, we might not have as much time as we think. So I think really getting started on this stuff early is amazing. So you sent me an email. You said, I'm thinking about doing this thing. I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about doing it too.
You have no
And
idea
then,
how much fear that put into me. I'm like, oh my God, Ben's gonna do
and,
one? Oh, I really
and
shouldn't
then you
do it. And
emailed
then
me
you
again.
know
You
what? I'm
said,
gonna do it anyway.
yeah. And then a year later, I get an email saying it's finished, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still thinking about it." And then I read it. So you said you were kind enough to send me a copy. I was able to read through it, and I thought, "This is amazing. This is so much work has gone into this." So I'm not going to make my own now because we've got a good one. You did write a really nice guest post for us on the blog
That
talking
was a
about
fun
it, but
one.
I really wanted to get you on the channel just to have a chat about this stuff. So could you actually, let's start with let's go back to the basics, which is could you give us your Jiko Shoukai, as we say in
Sure.
Japan?
I'm Kristen McQuillin. I have been in Japan since 1998. My husband and I arrived together, already married, so we thought we'd be here about 6 months. We were both working for an international bank. This was right before the year 2000 rollover happened. So I was working in IT doing project management, and for the Y2K project, he is an IT engineer, so he was also working for the same group. We sat like 3 desks away from each other, and we thought we'd be here for 6 months, and here we still are. I think it's a not uncommon story that people come thinking they'll be here for just a little while, and then it just, a few years pass, and then suddenly, yeah, it's been 27 years.
Yeah, I've got this theory that people that come here for like a year or two tend to stay, and people who are like, I love Japan, I'm going to live there forever, they tend to like realize they don't like it that much and leave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we came with no expectations. It was a really good place for people who like puzzles, because everything's a puzzle when you first arrive. And it's still a puzzle. I mean, 27 years later, I'm still figuring stuff out and being shocked, like, oh, have I been doing that wrong this whole time? It's okay. You have to be smart, or curious, maybe. Not necessarily intelligent, but curious and willing to try things to really get on living in Japan, I am sure.
yeah, and maybe be flexible with things, even though you might think it's weird at the
Yeah.
start, right?
And be willing to be embarrassed sometimes, and
Sometimes.
every day. You're right, every day.
So whereabouts are you living now? So
Todd and I live, my husband is Todd. He and I live in rural Chiba. Like Kamogawa is the city, so it's kind of the southern end of Chiba. We live in the mountain part. I'm right next to a semi-famous place called Oyama Senmaida. It's the closest rice terraces to Tokyo. So we
Oh,
get
okay.
lots of visitors out this way coming out for drives, and
That's
um,
nice. Are you still in IT and that kind of thing?
not so much anymore. Honestly, the Y2K project was enough. I call myself a creative dilettante. I flit from thing to thing. I write books, I teach art, I am an artist, I'm a graphic designer, I'm good at project management. I teach art at Oyama Maida. I have a paper making class there that I teach to myriad fifth graders who come in on buses for school trips. Um, yeah, so I do a lot of different things now. And it's not that I don't do IT, it's just not really my job anymore. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds a little bit similar to my life at the moment. I'm just kind of flitting around.
Isn't it fun? Like every day is
Yeah.
different.
I
And
do
that's
think, yeah, like semi-retirement or less structured work because
yeah,
you don't have that financial pressure to, try and maximize your income.
exactly.
It's a really nice way to ease into things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's good. I still feel like I'm contributing to my community and to the household funds, but there's not really a whole lot of pressure to like build up a ton of money anymore. We have enough, I think. Although you never know.
That's awesome, actually, because that concept of enough is so important. It's
And it's
it's the
hard.
core of personal finance, isn't it? So
And it is hard to make that determination because there's always that like, well, gosh, inflation's happening right now, and the government's starting to lean a little anti-foreigner, so we could be like thrown out of Japan for who knows what reason. There's no reason to throw me out of Japan. Japan, please let me stay. But you just don't know what the future holds. So that sense of like, okay, we have enough is probably right, but who knows?
I
Like
think I think it's a process rather than a
yeah,
decision. You don't decide you have enough. You kind of live in a way where you do, and
right.
after doing that for long enough, you kind of
You
maybe
feel
get
a little more
comfortable with it.
comfortable.
Awesome. So, what made you think of writing? And because ending notes, this Shuukatsu kind of thing in Japan, like they're approaching the end of life, it's quite popular recently, isn't it? I don't know if it's a recent
Everybody's
trend.
old. Or
Like,
half
I've
the
been seeing
country
it a
living.
lot in the media. So,
Yeah.
there's like films about it. There's lots of it's on TV shows. The asadora, the asa kind of
Mhm.
asaichi. That I've been really into asaichi since I retired. Like, I like watching it. It's kind of the pulse of the country, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've talked about it a few times. So, what made you get interested?
Well, when my mom died, just before the pandemic, I was going back and forth between Japan, India, where I was working in an IT job, and America. It was the weirdest 18 months. But at the end of it, mom passed away, and we were dealing with the fallout of all of that. And she was really organized, like me. She was an organized person, but she was an organized person with dementia, and things didn't get updated towards the end. And so we had so much trouble trying to find her passwords, which we never found. And, all the things that would have made it easier to close her accounts and, like to give the lawyer the information that he needed in order to do the stuff he needed to do. It was just stress on top of grief. And it was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. So recently, when I'm about to turn 60, which I'm really excited about, I'm so thrilled for my kaneki to finally be coming around. Right? Um, but it's a turning point, right? Or it's a point, a milestone in the life, and I feel like okay, this is my chance to like really get all that stuff together, and make sure that my family, who are all in America, do not have to deal with trying to find my passwords, trying to understand the Japanese stuff around death. And so I did this for myself and for my sister. She's the one who's going to have to be handling all of this stuff on the family end of things. I wanted to make sure that it was all just kind of nice and tidy. And I realized when I started the process of looking, I was just going to buy an ending note. Like at the bookstore, they sell them. They're cute, right? They have little bear mascots,
Yeah.
and they're pink or they're beige or whatever. But they were horrible because they didn't really address my situation of having, I still have bank accounts in America. I don't have any other assets there, but I've got stuff, right? And it's not, I have a pension. I have an American Social Security. Well, who knows? I might
Possibly
someday
in 7 years'
possibly
time.
get some American Social Security payments. Who knows, right? But I have things in different countries. And I also have a bunch of different names. I mean, I don't. I only have one name, Kristen McQuillin, but it's in Katakana. It's in Romaji. It's with my middle name, without my middle name, all caps with a space between the C and the Q. Like there are just so many different ways that my name is officially written, depending on which official you're looking at. So,
Yeah.
Japanese ending notes, they don't have space for that stuff. So I figured after looking through about 10 bookstore ending notes, I was just going to have to do this myself. And so I did. And that's what I ended up with.
So the thing I really liked about the ending note when I was looking through it, and also the companion volume, right, which might be even more interesting for international residents, or was how much research went into that, right?
It was a
How long
lot.
did it take you to put
And
all
at the
that
same time,
information
it was
together?
not enough. I still am not finished filling mine in. Dirty secret, right? Like I have it, but I still there are parts that I'm like, I'll do that later. Yeah. It was a lot of looking, thinking, trying. Once I decided that I was going to write this and share it with others, then it became kind of bigger because it wasn't just making a list of my stuff. It was also considering, gosh, what about my UK based friends? My friends who came from Australia, they have superannuations. I don't know what they're called, so there was a lot of trying to figure out that kind of stuff. Like, well, what other systems are there aside from the American system that I know, and the Japanese system, which I do know a lot better now. So I tried to include that stuff, but of course, I know I didn't hit everybody's specific needs because I didn't research everything. Fortunately, it's a printable book, so if it's not in the book, you can write it out or make your own page and slip it in. So it's I tried to make it as flexible as possible. And even when I'm filling it in, I go, this is a little awkward. I should have designed this page a little differently. Fortunately, it's a PDF. I can update it. And then to all the people who've already bought copies, I can send them the new page or a new version of the book, or invite them to download it again. So that's a nice thing of kind of controlling the printing of it. I thought about printing it as a book, but then decided that a printable PDF made a lot more sense in terms of flexibility. There is a Kindle version and there's a paperback, version, but they're already kind of out of date because I made changes that I didn't reflect in those versions. But for people who don't want to print things out or want to use the idea as a template, then the paperback and the Kindle will kind of make sense.
So the PDFs are available from you directly,
yes.
and the others are available from Amazon.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we did the same we've got a couple of guides with RetireJapan, so a guide to Nisa, guide to Ideco, and yeah, those are PDFs basically, so that I can update them and send them out to everyone once it changes, which it always does, unfortunately.
Of course it does. Everything changes, so
non-fiction stuff.
Right.
So going, while you were writing the ending note and the companions, what really surprised you? What did you find out that people might not know?
I think a lot of the stuff that surprised me wasn't so much in the ending note, but in the family guide. So there's a companion book, the family guide, that this 100% is for my sister. If it's useful to anybody else, terrific, but it's really for Jenny. And it's a guide to what has to happen when somebody dies in Japan.
Well, I didn't know half that stuff.
I
So I
didn't
think,
know most of it.
anyone living in Japan is going to find that useful.
I tried to make it so that it kind of corresponded to the things in the ending note. But also each section, each step of the way has a list of, you're going to need these things. And here's where you're going to go. And this is what's going to happen. So that, even through the weirdest times, you're able to go, I'm on page 7. okay, I need, okay, that thing's in the book. I know where it is. I'm going to need the key to this. I'm going to need the passport. And so there's a really kind of, it's Japan. It's a pretty specific set of steps with timeline. And so just to make it a little bit less confusing for my sister when she needs it, I wrote that book. And I learned so much. I knew little bits and pieces of it, but I didn't know it in the depth that I know it now.
So what could you give us some specific examples of things that people might not have considered?
Probably most people know about Japanese inheritance. If you don't have a will, your assets get split in a very specific, legally specified way. Your spouse gets half, your children or other heirs. So like if you don't have kids, then your siblings or your parents or even your grandparents, I guess if you're very young, or cousins or whatever. There's a family tree that needs to be drawn up, and the lawyer draws that up for you if it isn't already there. If you have a will, it's a different matter. You can specify how to send your assets this way and that way. So Todd and I, because we don't have kids, are having wills drawn up. This has been a good kick in the pants to do this stuff, right? Like, oh, right, okay, we're not going to be able to just like assume that I will get everything if Todd dies first, vice versa. That's not how it works. I would get half, and in the case of our particular family, his sister would get the other half. Oh, well, she doesn't live here.
It's kind of inconvenient, isn't it?
It's really not going to do her much good. So our wills will, obviously we each get what's remaining of everything, and then when the other one dies, then it'll get split up to the family or charity or whatever we end up deciding on.
Yeah, I actually made a will last year because I realized if I died with or shortly after my wife, the Japanese government would get all my assets because I don't have any other close relatives. So that was a real kick in the pants to put the will together.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be an issue for the vast majority of people, though. It's just my specific case. But we have got an article about that, making a will with a notary in Japan on the blog. So what else? So making a will, you might not be aware of how it works, but you should be. So go and read that blog article.
I wasn't really aware of how embassies would all work. They're all different. So where, like the American embassy, of course, has a form and a fee, which didn't surprise me. In the UK, I don't think you even have to like report it.
I think you have to give their passport back.
But that's
the only thing I've seen. So that's the only thing.
Like hand the passport back, and
because the passport officially belongs to the king,
to the government.
So you have to give it back to him. But yeah, other than that, there's not very much.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxed. Was there anything you saw in the book that was surprising?
Nothing like super new. But there were a few things where I like, oh, okay, I should definitely write that down. Like where the car keys are. I thought that was a really good point.
Right.
And yeah, it just really brought home how important it is to simplify as you get older. Like just clean up and get rid of stuff. And because like when my grandmother died, we had to go and clean her house. And it took us 5 days. She was a kind of a hoarder. She used to do like car boot sales, we call them in England, right? So you kind of,
Yep.
So she used to do that. So she had like stock as well as all her own stuff. And then at the end of her life, she wasn't able to go out and sell it anymore. So she was just accumulating. So it took us 5 days to go through her house, mainly looking for cash because she'd had cash everywhere in little boxes. And then we had to pay like a company to come and clear the rest. So don't want to do that to my grandkids.
No, there's a movement called Swedish Death Cleaning that kind of covers the decluttering before you die. Yeah, And
And the thing is, having a decluttered house is just nicer anyway.
it's nice, right?
So-
Yeah, who needs all this stuff? I mean, I'm looking at my desk and going, why haven't I thrown that away?
Well, this camera is angled very carefully, so you can't see the rest of the room. So we are a personal finance website. So what are your views on personal finance? Any kind of advice or things that have worked for you? That kind of
Don't
thing.
be an American. I mean, that's my best advice. Just oops, born in the wrong country. At least as someone living in Japan, we really can't do a lot of investment without hitting that stupid rule. So that taxes anything. And then aside from not being American, start saving early. Todd and I definitely were careful to have put away money in our probably our late 20s. We were married very early. So we had jobs in our, like kind of solid-ish jobs in our late 20s and started saving in 401ks and all the small investment vehicles that we were able to. When we had better paying jobs, we put more away. We did, company pensions and actual investment, which I've never really liked, to be honest. Stock investing feels like gambling to me. So you just never know. And so I didn't do as much of that as Todd did, but we managed to put away a pretty decent nest egg. It allowed us to build the house I'm sitting in cash, no mortgage,
Wow.
which is nice. So now we own this. It's a nice house. It's not a big house, but it's a lovely house. But it's ours. So, we don't have to worry about ongoing payments. Once, when we were in our mid-30s, we moved from Pennsylvania to Chicago and bought a lot of furniture on credit, which was a bad idea. Don't buy things on credit. It just kind of wears at you having to pay off all of those payments. And don't buy on
I had
credit.
something similar. So I bought a motorbike. That's the only thing I've bought other than my home, which has a ridiculously low interest rate. So I'm happy with that. I bought a motorbike on credit. And yeah, it was fine. I think it's 3 or 5 years to pay it off, and it was just miserable the whole time.
Yeah.
I hated being in debt, so
Yeah.
that was a really good lesson for me.
Yeah, we buy crappy used cars with cash, and they work fine. They get us where we're going. We are not super flashy people. When that has given us enough money to be able to at least semi-retire or work at our choosing, like in more so than having to have full-time stressful jobs.
Yeah, I think that's a great transition. Same thing for me. So I kind of retired in 2022, and just been the internet retirement police every so often drop into the comments and they're like, "You're not retired because you're still working." I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Well, what do people expect retirement to be? Because honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to be any different than what I do now, which is, kind of low paid, but still paid work. Some client work from time to time. I mean, it keeps me happy and interested. And and I have lots of like friends who are like in their 80s who are still doing stuff. Like, what are they supposed to do if they're retired? What does the retirement police believe?
Well, I look around and the old people who are, fit and healthy and mentally sound are all working. And is that causation or is it correlation? Like, I suspect it's both.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, working gives you community, it gives you intellectual stimulation, it gives you a schedule. There's nothing wrong with working when you're old. I mean, as long as you're not damaging your body or, you can work around whatever physical issues you may have. I think working is important. I will never retire. I don't even know what that would look like.
Yeah, I
Go on a
think
cruise like this.
choosing to work is really helpful and healthy. Not having the option is not great. So that's why we're very focused on spreading the word about saving, investing, and not spending too much on flashy
Yeah,
cars.
yeah. Don't need the name brand stuff. Don't need. It's really you're just going to declutter it later. that's
Very
that's
true.
what I've learned. Is like, yeah, buying expensive stuff because it looks good or it's trendy generally is not a good choice. At least it hasn't been for me. So
So, where can people get your ending note and the companion volume from?
they are available as a set on mediatinker.com, which is my long running website. It's currently 3,000 yen plus tax.
Ooh, I
Woo.
very much worth it, I
It
think.
is. I think it's
The
not
amount of work you would have to do to replicate the information or just to get that amount of knowledge is enormous. So yeah, it's definitely worth 3,000 yen.
it is.
Probably worth more.
It's probably worth more. But I wanted it to be affordable because I want it's it's a niche book with a really small market. So I don't want it to be out of range of people. I want them to feel like, yeah, this is good. And when they get it and start using it, to find that they're getting good value from it. 3,000 yen seemed like a reasonable price.
Yeah, definitely go check it out if you're living in Japan. If you're going to continue living in Japan, it's going to make things so much easier for your family, not just if you end up dying at some point, which you probably will, but also, if you become incapacitated in some way, if you're in the hospital, just having that information to hand is priceless.
And one of the pages in the book, in fact, the first page, which I have been recommending to my friends who I've given the book to, finish that one. Do that one last. The first page of the book to fill in is the emergency contact page, which you
Hmm.
would give to your emergency contacts. I'm planning to actually have different versions of it. One version that goes to my sister, which will have local people who speak English on it. One to give to my actual local contact, and it will have different people to contact. But I have, even now, I still haven't completely decided who's getting that page. But that page is really useful because it has like where you'll find the keys to my house, who to contact about, like more details. So who are you giving a copy of the ending note to? It's probably
Hmm.
not your emergency contact. Like my emergency contact is very likely one of my neighbors, and I do not want my neighbor to have all of this information. My
Yeah.
lawyer can have this information, or I'll send a copy to my sister. I trust her. But this is enough. Like the stuff that's in here is definitely enough to do identity theft with. Even though passwords are not in here, there's enough that you could fake somebody's life with
So
this,
keep it
especially.
safe, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be careful with it. It is not a coffee table book. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff. I also discovered that when I was going through to fill in this book, I saved myself a bunch of money by going through and canceling subscriptions, that a couple that I had kind of like forgotten. Oh yeah, I'll get this, it'll be great. I'm like, it's not really that great. But then the free trial ended and I forgot to finish it. Everybody has that. So yeah, and some things I'm like, I don't really need this level of this service anymore. I'm not doing that thing anymore. Let me downgrade that. So that was really helpful. And I've been going through my passwords very slowly. That
Yeah.
is decluttering of the worst type, but it's also really important. There are a lot of things that I don't need anymore. All client access and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And it's just cluttering up my passwords, which will make it more challenging for my sister. What's this thing? Is that important or is it not important? So trying to get all the important stuff together in one folder of my password manager, and everything else either deleted or refiled.
And it's likely to be a work in progress, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
it's a jumping off point. So you start with the ending note, go through it, tack in your extra special stuff, and you're going to have to probably keep an eye on it over the years.
Absolutely.
Um,
There's definitely an expectation that this is not a finished document, even if you fill it in completely.
but you want that big file somewhere where people know where it is. So.
Yeah, because even if it's out of date, it's more up to date than nothing.
Definitely. All right. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Kristen. And I hope you do. I hope the sales for the ending note go really well. You certainly deserve to. I'll be recommending it to people for sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and let us know if you write any more books about life in Japan and so on.
Undoubtedly, I will. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's been nice talking to
Absolutely
you
my
and
pleasure.
actually like talking real time instead of in email and on LinkedIn.
Definitely. All right. One final kind of piece of advice.
You never know when you're going to die, so you should fill in your ending note today.
Awesome. All right. We'll finish with that.